Hello everyone, this is Ashish and today we are going to discuss PowerShell remoting. This is the next module which is a very important topic as far as PowerShell is concerned. This is one of the thing which you must be using no matter what domain you manage using PowerShell. But remoting is something you must be aware of, and you must know how to use it. In order to better do the automation or the administration of your infrastructure, the Windows infrastructure. So let's start this session. So today we are going to discuss the PowerShell remoting. PowerShell remoting is also known as WinRm. WinRm is the technology or the behind the scene implementation which works for enable your remoting through PowerShell. And WinRm is actually implementation of a open standard which is known as WSMan, and we still have a provider for WSMan. If you remember that while discussing the providers in our previous session, we had we came through a particular provider which was known as provider. Let's there is a WSMan. So WSMan is the provider for all the remoting capabilities, and it is an open standard provider. So that means WSMan is something you will find in other platform as well, but just the implementation will differ. So what will differ? WinRm will differ actually. So WinRm is in Windows, something else will be in a different platform. So WSMan, if you want to know more about it, you can go ahead DMTF website, and you can see that WSMan is the DMTF protocol for web service management, and you can go ahead and read about it. It is a quite I would say explained topic. In terms of PowerShell, what we should know that WinRm is the implementation of WSMan, and prior to WinRm, we still had remoting capabilities, which was not WinRm, but it was DCOM. So DCOM is again a standard for distributed component object model. So I mean, it is again a very vast topic. If you want to go ahead and if you want to go into the deep understanding of it, then you can go ahead and read the articles over internet. But the behind the scene, what it is like, if you are coming from a background from SCCM or other tools, SMS, SCCM legacy version, or other tools which uses remoting in the behind the scene, even without the WinRm era. I mean, when WinRm was not there, when PowerShell was not there, these tools were still using the the remoting capabilities, and those remoting capabilities were based on DCOM. DCOM had some limitations. One of the limitation was security. One of the limitation was that it had firewall limitation, that the server supposed to have DCOM level rules opened and things like that, and if the DCOM is not enabled on the firewall itself, then you never be able to reach the machine to be able to work with that machine. WinRm solves that because WinRm behind the scene do not use DCOM. WinRm behind the scene uses HTTP and HTTPS for transmitting the traffic. I mean, again, WinRm has so many things how PowerShell has implemented WinRm. We will go through it as and when we will be discussing those particular topics. But for the time being, what I wanted to stress upon that WinRm is a implementation of WSMAN protocol, which is an open standard protocol for remoting, for web service management. And WinRm introduced from PowerShell 2.0 and then so on. And prior to, let's go back to our slide and let me just go through the types of remoting. Okay, so there are 4 types. If you see that, one is ad hoc remoting, the second one is interactive, third one is persistent, and fourth one is implicit. Out of these 4, the first one, that is ad hoc remoting, do not actually need WinRm. What I mean by it does not need WinRm, let me just go through the PowerShell. Okay, and let's clear it out, and let's go to the one of the commanded, like get service computer name. You have a computer name field for get service, but this is not true for everything. Like suppose if you want to run a command like new, or let's see, new issue automation account, or anything, like you want to run this particular thing on remote computer, this might not have a computer name field. If I am it does not have any, so it does not have any computer name field, right? So you can't run this particular command for that example. But whatever the commandlet you have, and get service or get process, and this one should also have computer name field. So these are the commandlets where you can run these commandlets against a remote computer by just specifying the computer name over here. Once you specify that computer name, it explicitly go to that computer, run that command on that computer, and gives the result on your shell. This is how it works. Now this is something you will be able to run if you have a remote computer on on the same domain, and the credential you have used to launch this shell has access to that computer as well. Because in this scenario you have the option to mention computer name, but you do not have option to mention your specific credential. So what credential will be used? The credential will be used what you have used to launch this shell. The token will be passed to the commandlet for that particular credential, and if that credential itself do not have access to the remote computer capabilities, then it won't run. That is what it is. So you will be able to run this command in your domain. If you have a remote computer outside your domain, this particular trick might not work. I have not it might be true that there might be some other ways around it, but so far I have not come across running this commandlet on a non-domain computer. I was not able to run it anywhere on a different computer having a different credential. Because I do not have the option to provide that credential information over here. So that's what, and since we are issuing this command on ad hoc basis, that's why this way of remoting is known as ad hoc remoting. So as we have discussed, the first part is ad hoc remoting, and this is as simple as that you mention the command, you check the computer name field, and you just issue the command against a particular computer, and it will run, right? So right now I have a demo machine, but it is not on the same domain, so I won't be able to demo it this example. But let's go to the the next option we have. So the next option is interactive remoting. This is something which will need you to first enable WinRm on the remote computer. There are ways of enabling WinRm on the remote computer. So let me just clarify again. To use any of these three techniques, last three, the remote machine should already have WinRm service installed. So for WinRm, the PowerShell should be there. So all the Windows 7 machine or above have PowerShell installed by default, but WinRm is not enabled by default. All the server machines above 2012 are WinRm enabled by default. Okay, so you don't have to explicitly enable WinRm, but in case of operating system below that, I have checked Windows 7, Windows Server 2008, 2008 R2, even in some cases of 2012, maybe not 2012 R2, but even in 2012, I had to enable the WinRm service first, enable to run the commands against them remotely. So first you have to enable WinRm. Now enabling WinRm includes few things. The very simple way of enabling WinRm is Enable-PSRemoting. This is the commandlet. If you run it, if you have the if your computer has the remoting capability enabled, then it will just pop it up that you already have the WinRm enabled, else it will go ahead and enable it. So since I already have enabled it, so it should be giving me the output that it is already have WinRm enabled. If it is not, then it will enable it. Just wait for some time. Seems like enabling it. Okay, so as you can see, this WinRm is already set up to receive requests on this computer, where remote management on this computer, right? So, and if you do not have enabled, then it will go ahead and enable it. So this is one of the simplest way of enabling PSRemoting. To make it working, WinRm service should be enabled in the Windows service. WinRm service should be enabled there, and then you can run the Enable-PSRemoting commandlet on the remote computer. And then once you have that enabled, now you can do everything remotely. Okay, so as we have a computer, remote computer, let's try to check if I have WinRm enabled on this computer or not. Okay, it is Windows Server 2016, so probably it should already have enabled, but let's launch shell, because we are not going to edit anything over here, so we will try to use shell over here. It's running. Okay. So it's checking. It's not showing. Okay, it seems like it's already enabled, but it is not giving. Let's do one thing. WinRm config. Oops. Okay. WinRm config should give you the configuration of WinRm. Okay, WinRm service is already running on this machine. The following changes must configure local to grant administrative right remotely to local user. make these changes. Yes, configure local account. Okay, so it is done all everything. Now let's go back to our machine, and let's go to the PowerPoint slide. So we are going to discuss the interactive remoting. Okay, so in interactive remoting, what you will do actually, you will interactively create a session with the remote computer in the shell itself. So right now we have opened ISE. You can open your PowerShell console as well. It will just work similarly. It's just that you won't get the IntelliSense over there. So let's go there. Enter-PSSesion. So Enter-PSSesion is the commandlet for going into the session. It is self-explanatory. You will give the computer name. We are expecting an error over here. I will explain that error, but let's try to run that. Instead of computer name, I am giving the IP address because computer name, the computer I have is not on domain, as well as it is not capable of having name resolution. So so this is the computer name. Now I specifically say that credentials should be asked. You can pass in your credential as well. Get credential. So it will ask me the credential for that computer. So let's run it. So as you can see, now I will give the administrator. This is the remote computer username and password. So that was not that was not the option for ad hoc remoting. So okay, so yes, see, there is an error. Why it is? Because if it would have been a domain computer, okay, if it would have been a domain computer, you could have get login on that computer. But because it is not the domain computer, it is still it is still not letting you log in. And why? Because there is a thing which is called trusted host list. So my computer has a trusted host list in WSMan. Let's go to there. Get item. Okay. WSMan local host client. So there is a trusted host value. If I enter it, I do not have any value in there. It expect a string. There is no value. So ideally what I should do, set item WSMan, same thing, localhost, then client, then trusted host, and value, and then I can mention the value, the IP address or the computer name of that computer. Say, or we can use the wildcard entry as well. So star means all the computers are trusted for this computer. So I am using star. You can use the computer name as it is, or you can use multiple computer names as well. So I am using star, and then once I do it, it will just confirm yes. Okay, so I have the computer added into the trusted host list. If I will go ahead and see the get item again, it gives me the star value. Now let's try to run the same thing again. Enter-PSSesion, get credential. Now let's so this time it should be able to, as you can see, it is able to log in, and now you see the IP address of that computer with the PowerShell prompt. See that? So this is the thing that I have logged into this computer interactively. Now anything I will issue, it will run against that computer. So let's try to run this. Get service. get service, let's run it. You will get all the service running, on that computer. Okay, now this is not it is not very much clear that it is the same computer. So let's do one thing. Let's go ahead and environment variable computer name. Now right now I am on the computer with a different name. Now let's try to get the computer name for that session. If you go ahead and see, this is the computer name I'm getting, and this name is not my computer name. If I want to know my computer name, let's open a different shell. This is a different shell. I do not have session, environment, computer name, and this is my computer name on the local computer. So as you can see, it is issuing the command against this computer, this IP, and then it is giving me the appropriate result. So this can confirm that anything you will run, it will run on that computer only, and then you can go ahead and run any command you would think of related to your domain. And this is the second way of working with remote computers, and this is known as interactive remoting, because we are interactively working with that computer in the console itself. We have explicit session opened. We will run all these commands, and then once we are done, we have a command just like Enter-PSSesion. We have a command like exit PS session. Okay, you will enter it and you will exit the session. So that's how it is, right? So this is interactive remoting. Okay, I hope it is making clear for you. And then we have persistent session and implicit remoting. Now persistent session is one of the remoting way, or one of the most popular way of having remote of computer. I would I would be discussing this particular these two in the next video, and with more details, and we will be having a similar demo session for persistent session and implicit. I will try to have a demo session for implicit remoting as well, because that requires a particular module to be installed on the remote computer, so that I can actually show you its use case. I will try to have that in my lab, in my virtual machine lab. Else we might have to go through the theory only. But yeah, let's discuss these two things in next session, and hope it is clear for you, the WinRm concept. This is one of the very important concept. Please go through it, and comment on the YouTube channel, or maybe in the Telegram group if you want to know more about it. If I have skipped something you want to know, I will try to include that particular topic in my next video as well. Thank you so much all.